Hello and good afternoon, everyone, or good evening, depending on which side of the world you're on. We'd like to welcome you to our webinar on our automated Forex trading robots. That's BTC and FapTurbo2 Premium. My name is Alex, and I'm part of the FapTurbo development team, and I also handle tech and premium support along with the rest of our crew, including Annie, Emily, and others. Joining us today is also Mr. Paul Tagger, who represents our preferred broker, MyFxChoice, and he'll be speaking on their behalf later on in the presentation. After which we'll have a brief Q&A session at the end of the webinar to address your queries about our robots or about the brokers. This webinar will be recorded and made available later on our website, so if you have any friends or family who are interested in attending the webinar, tell them not to worry about it. It will be made accessible later on. Now, before we get started, for those of you who are completely new to the FapTurbo family, I'd just like to refer you to our website. That's FapTurbo2.com, and you can see the link down here on the screen. Please take the time to read through our webpage after the webinar. You'll see details about our robot's performance, and if you'd like to be kept informed of updates in the future, there's a registration box that you'll find as you scroll down the main page where you can fill in your name and email, and that'll get you subscribed to our email list. Now, the whole focus of this webinar is for us to show you how you can basically generate almost $500,000 in profit, and that's something that's done in the long term with our robots. That's BTC and FapTurbo2 Premium. Now, for this webinar, we assume that you're somewhat familiar with the concept of automated trading via a Forex broker. There are plenty of Forex brokers that you can find online, but for our robots, we highly recommend our preferred brokers, which are MyFxChoice and Tallinex. Right, sorry about that. Now, you can see both of our preferred brokers listed here. Both brokers have their own advantages, and more importantly, what you must keep in mind is that our FAP2 series is exclusively tied to these brokers, which means you cannot run our robots on any other broker except these two. I'm sure there are many here who have accounts at least one of these brokers, and that's something that we probably will figure out from the poll. But if you're completely new to the Forex world, we highly recommend that you register with either one of our preferred brokers. So these are the registration links right here at the bottom. Okay, and if you want to get started with our robots, then the best thing to do is to make sure that you sign up through these links only. And all you have to do is basically open up a FapTurbo2 type account at FxChoice or an ECN Micro at Tallinex. After which you can download their latest MetaTrader 4 trading platforms and then get started by depositing funds into your new account. Now, once you're done with funding your account, all you have to do is email our premium support team. The address is premium@FapTurbo2.com, and we'll assist you with setting up the robot on your account. And we'll talk more about this in a bit. Just to give you a brief intro to the entire concept of automated trading, for those of you who are new to all of this, one of the first things that you'll definitely have to get acquainted with is the MetaTrader 4 platform. Now, MetaTrader 4 is one of the world's most popular Forex trading platforms and is very user-friendly. And more importantly, it allows automated trading, which is where our robots come in. So let me just go ahead and switch to MetaTrader 4 so you can see what it looks like. Over here, you basically have the entire terminal, and you have charts which will show you the current market price action happening on the various pairs that you should be trading on. And we basically deal with 7 regular pairs along with Bitcoin. Bitcoin happens to be one of the more profitable pairs, and we like to focus on that particular pair as well. So this is what the MetaTrader 4 platform looks like, and it's a good idea for you to have to get acquainted with it, so later on it'll be easier for you to understand how to run our robots on this platform. Now, a robot in the automated trading world, just in case you're not familiar with the terminology, it's usually a robot is usually referred to as an expert advisor, which is a software that automatically trades on your Forex account on your behalf based on a set of rules that it has been coded to trade with. Now, these sets of rules can vary based on the trading strategies that has been developed to emulate, and the most common types are usually based on technical analysis, and depending on the trading styles, they can be classified as scalpers, day traders, swing traders, short-term, medium-term, long-term. There's a whole plethora of various types of robot trading styles out there. Now, our BTC and FapTurbo2 robots incorporate a combination of medium-term as well as short-term and scalper trading. So basically, we've managed to package, four different types of trading styles all into one robot. Now, just to give you a brief look at the history behind FapTurbo's development over the years, the very first version of FapTurbo was released in 2008. And FAP stands for Forex Autopilot. And it was originally a long-term strategy that mainly ran on Euro USD M1. We collaborated with the creator of FAP and added our highly successful scalper strategy to it, which was how FapTurbo came into being. And ever since the first version, we've had almost 60 updates since then. And the current FapTurbo scalper stands at version 57, but there have been other variants of it as well. One of which is the relatively unknown FapTurbo Flash robot, which we have now included into our latest FapTurbo version 2.3 version in order to give you an added advantage. The original scalper did very well on the crosses, namely Euro GBP, Euro CHF, GBP CHF, and some of the major pairs such as Euro USD, GBP USD, USD CAD, etc. And part of its success laid in the fact that it was designed to trade during the quieter, less volatile timings after market hours. That's usually around 9 o'clock p.m. to 11 p.m. GMT. So the scalper robot would open new trades only during this timing and usually close out trades within a few hours or before the next day's trading session began. Now, the problem with our older FapTurbo scalper robots was that they were extremely sensitive to spreads. And since we didn't limit the earlier versions to our preferred brokers, many of our customers would have highly varying results which were very dependent on the spreads provided by their brokers. And also, once our original FapTurbo robot became successful and people started talking about it over the internet, the brokers got wind of it and most of them began to increase their spreads during after hours, which made it increasingly difficult for our robots to scalp profitably. So by 2011, we knew we had to change our strategy because it just wasn't working out anymore, at least not the way we envisioned it. So we began developing the first series of our premium versions of FapTurbo as short-term traders that had larger take profits so as to counteract the increased spreads, and also the premium robots weren't limited to aftermarket hours any longer. And as a result, they could work throughout the day to extract more profits. In other words, they weren't limited to the early Aussie Asian sessions anymore. The best of the first series of premium robots culminated in FapTurbo Premium version 2 beta, which was the precursor to our entire FapTurbo series, and it's our latest version BTC and FapTurbo version 2.2 along with the upcoming version 2.3 beta that is now the main focus of our webinar today. Now, our FapTurbo2 robots have been expanded to trade with medium-term strategy, and that's MTS for short, which means it'll have larger TPs, take profits, and stop losses, better profit to loss ratios, and also trades will last a little longer. They can last anything from a few days to weeks, whereas in comparison, scalper trades usually last a couple of hours up to a day. But what you have to remember is that with a scalper, most of your profits will get eaten up by the spreads. And that's exactly what we were attempting to solve. So although you will have to exercise a little more patience, the FapTurbo2 MTS strategy proves to be more profitable in the long term. And that's what really matters at the end of the day. It's not just about having to make profits in the short term. But for those of you who prefer more frequent trading, don't worry. We've designed our FapTurbo robots to behave like Swiss Army knives that will allow you to switch between these various different styles of trading that we've included into the robots. Both of our BTC and FapTurbo2 Premium robots come with two main trading modes. That is the MTS mode, the medium-term strategy mode that I was talking about earlier, which is also the default, as well as the scalper mode. In FapTurbo 2.2, we incorporated the older legacy scalper into the mix, which will also allow you to trade more frequently if you want to. The legacy scalper works best on Euro USD M1. And now, more importantly, with our upcoming FapTurbo 2.3 Premium version, you will also have a new additional trading mode based on our flash trading algorithm, which is like a short-term trader. You can think of it as being between a scalper and an MTS. This is the first time that we're revealing our secret flash strategy in combination with FapTurbo 2, so you guys attending this webinar are the first to know about this. Best of all, we also decided to add Bitcoin to our list of tradable pairs, which is handled by a separate version of our robot that's aptly named BTC FapTurbo2 Premium. So the BTC version trades exclusively on Bitcoin versus USD, which you will find as BTC USD in your MetaTrader. Now, for those of you who don't know what all the fuss is about, Bitcoin is one of the most popular electronic cryptocurrencies that's used across the world, and its volatility allows our BTC FAP2 robot to gain more profits for you than if you were to simply employ a buy and hold strategy. The BTC version also includes the MTS mode as well as the scalper, both of which have shown more promise on Bitcoin lately in terms of their accuracy. Now, besides all of this, another one of the benefits that I like to talk about, especially when it comes down to trading with our BTC and FapTurbo2 robots. What you have to understand is that trading with our robots on Forex markets is a lot safer than getting into the binary option the binary option markets, which seems to be very popular lately. What you have to understand about binary options is that honestly, it's what we would consider to be a glorified form of push-button gambling. And binary options may seem to fulfill the immediate need for instant gratification when trading, because it basically boils down to just calling two options. You basically you place your bet in such a way that it's either a call or a put, which is the same thing as having to say you either go long or you go short. And it tends to have like fixed returns. But because of the fact that dealing with binary options can seem very easy to do, it's also a way by which you can easily lose your money as well. And unless you know what you're really doing, it becomes extremely difficult to actually be profitable on binary options. Whereas if you trade with our BTC and FapTurbo2 Premium robots, what you have is 3-4 different strategies at your fingertips, and you can trade safely with it on the Forex market versus binary options. Now, coming back to our premium robots, there's a lot that goes into developing and maintaining both our FapTurbo2 robots, and in our previous improvements, the most important of which is the ability for our robots to automatically download the latest optimized presets from our servers, which will also help the robots to trade more profitably on each pair. You must know that we are extremely serious in our commitment to ensure that our FapTurbo2 robots stay up to date along with the markets, and in order to do so, we regularly put our robots through a grueling optimization process that takes weeks and sometimes months at a time in order for us to filter out the best settings that show a high statistical probability of being most profitable in the near future. I'll discuss more about our optimization methodology a little later, but for all of you as the end users of our robots, it's not necessary for you to know the technical intricacies of the process in order to trade with our robots. That's why in order to make things easier for our members, we added the automatic download feature so that the robots can automatically initialize themselves with the latest settings. And you don't have to worry about a thing. The robots will completely take care of themselves once you have them up and running. Now, all of these improvements and developments that we have going on with BTC and FapTurbo2 Premium, none of them will mean a thing if you don't have a trustworthy broker that gives you the best trading conditions for our robots to churn out profits for you. Which brings us to our preferred brokers, MyFxChoice and Tallinex. Now, we've scoured the markets for the best possible brokers for our members, and we can honestly say that both these brokers offer the best trading environments and conditions for our FAP2 series. We've also made it very easy for you to run our robots because their latest MetaTraders from both these brokers already come pre-installed with our updated robot versions. So besides purchasing a license to FapTurbo2, you will need to open at least one account with either one of our preferred brokers or both if you'd like to take advantage of profits on both the platforms. And as you can see here, we have listed the basic requirements or conditions in order for you to get started with our robots. In order to qualify to run our BTC and FAP2 series, you will need to open and fund a live FapTurbo account through our brokers with an initial deposit of at least $500 to $1,000 or more. The reason we recommend at least $500 to $1,000 is so that you can take advantage of the best profits made on Bitcoin as well, along with the rest of the regular pairs. Now, we have FXChoice here in focus, and the best person to speak to you about FXChoice will be Paul. So I'm going to hand this over to him right now. Paul, it's all yours.
Okay, thanks, Alex. Thank you for that presentation so far. It's been interesting. I'm looking forward to the rest of it, especially the stuff with the flash. That's exciting. Thank you for allowing me to address the FapTurbo family and the future FapTurbo family. We are very excited with our partnership with FapTurbo here at FXChoice. We realized right away that they had a special piece of software, and we knew that we kind of saw their challenges back in 08 and 09 as they started making a lot of money and a lot of brokers started playing funny games with their spreads. And I'll talk more about brokers in particular, just alleviating some of the myths that come along in the Forex market with brokers. But as far as we're concerned, FXChoice, we take our partnership very, very seriously with FapTurbo. Like I said, we knew that they were a good product, and we wanted to make sure that their customers were handled and taken care of properly. And so I won't go into everything that we have, but this is just kind of a preview. But because we take our partnership very, very seriously with FapTurbo, we offer FapTurbo customers some very unique trading opportunities, specifically unique issues with or unique opportunities with a VPS. And the VPS, if some of you don't know what that is, the VPS basically stands for a virtual private server. And what that means is that that's a separate computer that kind of sits out in the cloud. You may be familiar with cloud computing, kind of sits out in the cloud, and your EA is sitting on that computer instead of on your desktop computer. And the advantage of that is now that you can now turn your computer off and you can do whatever you're going to do, and your EA is going to continue to run all night, all day, generating money for you, and you don't have to worry about it. And you can connect to that VPS from any computer that you can get an internet connection with. So it's great. Now you get that VPS free when you deposit $1,000, and you can use it for 60 days for free. After that, there's a little bit of a charge, and I can go into that later on when we talk more about our services. One of the other things that you get with at FxChoice because you're a FapTurbo client and have FapTurbo software and deposit that $1,000 or more, is that you get a 25% deposit bonus. And the unique thing about that deposit bonus is it's not just a one-time deposit bonus. You get that every time you make a deposit, and you get it for as long as you own your FxChoice account. So you can deposit $1,000, $10,000. Now there are some limits that go up to, I believe, $5,000 that you'll be able to receive as a bonus. But you can deposit as often as you like up to that amount. So you get the 25% would have to equal $5,000. So you would be able to deposit as much as you like up to that amount and get the bonus. Also, too, that bonus is a real bonus. It's not a fake bonus that you get and then they lock up your account like sometimes it happens with binary options brokers and things of that nature. So that they give you $100 and make you trade $40,000 worth of volume. We don't do anything like that, and I can tell you more about that as well as we get further into the presentation. But what I want to do is just kind of introduce myself, and then I can turn this back over to Alex, and as we get further down into the presentation, I can tell you more about the details of FxChoice and what we have to offer. So I'll give it back to you, Alex.
All right, thank you very much, Paul. And just to add to what Paul said about having a VPS, it's really useful because you can let the robots run uninterrupted on your MetaTrader during the trading week. So even if it means that you have to shut down your desktop, as long as you have our robots running on the FxChoice VPS, the trading is never interrupted. The robots will continue to trade even though you have to shut down your system. So it makes it, and it also makes it very especially convenient when it comes down to troubleshooting issues. FxChoice makes it very convenient to trade with our robots because their VPS service comes pre-installed with their latest MetaTrader, which also includes our latest updated FapTurbo2 versions. So if you have a VPS, all you have to do is send us your VPS login details to our premium support, which is premium@FapTurbo2.com, and we'll remotely assess your FapTurbo2 setup and make changes in the setup if needed. Yeah, so basically when it comes down to troubleshooting, it just makes it it makes it easier for both sides. Now, besides FxChoice, we also have a close relationship with Tallinex. To register with Tallinex, you would essentially have to follow more or less the same steps as you would with FxChoice. Just remember to go through this link, that's FapTurbo2.com/Tallinex, and choose the ECN micro account type, after which you download the latest MD4, and make sure you complete your account verification and finally make your deposit. Just to talk a little bit about what Tallinex offers you, Tallinex provides our premium members an initial 100% deposit bonus, plus a bonus scaling scheme which is dependent on the total round-trip lots traded. You can see the Tallinex bonus scheme here, right here on the right. And if you don't see it very clearly right now, you'll be able to see it much more clearly within our FapTurbo2 members area. Now, once you're done with creating and setting up your account, all that's left to do is to get our BTC and FapTurbo2 robots to run on your new account number. So assuming you've signed up for our robots and that you are now a FapTurbo2 member, you can find all the info and instructions you'd need to run our robots on the downloads page of our FapTurbo2 members area. And this is the link you'd need to log into our members area. That's FapTurbo2.com/members. And just to give you an idea of what our members area looks like, so this is what it looks like once you log in and you get onto the main downloads page. This is where you'll gain access to our manuals, the video tutorials, and any other resources you'd require. Basically, everything you'd need to run BTC and FapTurbo2 successfully has already been handed to you on a silver plate in our members area. So please make sure you take the time to go through our video tutorials and the manual because, see, at the end of the day, you want to make money. And even though this is an automated Forex trading solution, it is important for you to get to understand our system and how it works. We're not going to go into how to set up FapTurbo2 here because all of that has already been covered in our manuals and videos. So we're not going to repeat all those instructions on this webinar. This is what it looks like when you get to when you scroll down the downloads page, and you'll get to the actual download section, which gives you details about the current BTC and FapTurbo2 versions that we have available too. Alright, so now that we've given you a look at our members area, you must be wondering, what do the profit figures of our FapTurbo2 robots look like? Well, here are the updated profits for our robots over the past 5 years, starting from the beginning of January 2010. So our latest BTC and FapTurbo2 Premium robots have yielded profits in excess of $700,000, and that's across all pairs starting from January 2010 till date. Out of that $700,000, profits of $465,000 were generated during the focus periods, which were from November to February. Now, these results were obtained by trading the robots at one full lot or equivalent. So out of all the pairs that we have, it's Bitcoin that generates the maximum profits, which is why we're very enthusiastic about Bitcoin. Now, besides the overall profits since 2010, let me also mention a little bit about what we mean by the focus period here. I'll explain it in detail a little later, but suffice to say, during our optimizations, what we do is we like to train our robots in such a way that they produce more profits over the next few months. So it's a little bit like having to put blinders on a horse and forcing it to focus on the path ahead of it. So this range of the next 3 to 4 months is what we will refer to as the focus period. And now for the upcoming version that we have, that's FapTurbo version 2.3, we will basically be looking at the focus periods from January up to April. So when we consider the profits generated by the robots, especially during the focus periods over the past 5 years, that's what basically came up to $465,000. Now, out of these profits in the medium term, basically the MTS strategy, that's what produced $280,000 over the last year, that in 2014 alone. And that's excluding the profits from the recently added legacy scalper mode on Euro USD M1. And that's not even to mention the kind of profits that you'll be able to make with the new and improved FapTurbo Flash algorithm, which we've added to version 2.3. Now there are a lot of our members who ask us, what would be the best pairs to trade on. Personally, what I would actually recommend is for you to have to trade on all the pairs, because you see, these figures that we're showing you are profits that have been generated across all the pairs, not just a few of them. But it does happen that, depending on the kind of optimizations that we've run, some pairs will generate more profits than the other. But it is always a good idea to have to trade on all of them together at the same time, although we would recommend that you do so a little conservatively, because we don't want you to have to overtrade your accounts. So for those of you who prefer to be selective when trading, what we would say is that the very best pairs are now Bitcoin, of course, that's always at the top of our list, followed by Euro USD, and that's in both of the modes. Meaning, say, that'll be like Euro USD on the medium term MTS mode, as well as the scalper mode, because both these modes together, generate a lot of profit on that pair alone. So besides Euro USD, that's followed by Euro GBP, USD CAD, and GBP USD. And at the end of that list, you'll have USD CHF and GBP CHF. Now, right from the very first version of FapTurbo, we've always said that Euro CHF remains the safest and the most stable currency pair that you could trade on with our FapTurbo2 robots. And surprisingly, even despite the recent volatility that occurred on CHF, our FapTurbo2 robots were actually pretty good at avoiding that entire situation. So we didn't have any complaints, or we didn't have anyone who suffered any huge negative drawdowns as a result of the recent dip. All right. So let me talk a little bit about our training methodology, and also what we mean by the term focus periods. First of all, just just for your info, you ought to know that we've developed our own optimization code and procedure that generates tons of highly detailed statistics, way more than what the MT4's optimizer provides. And as a part of our optimization process, we train our robots over high-quality historical data, which we extract from the brokers, but at the same time, we want to make sure that our robots are not just simply tweaked to fit past data alone. In other words, we want our robots to be able to generalize well as newer market data comes in. So when we optimize them, what we do is we split the historical data into two parts, as you can see here. The first part is usually for training, and the latter bit is for testing. And we also have to ensure that that these two sections do not overlap with each other. So for example, if we take data from 2014 alone, we'll split the data in such a way that data from January to the end of October, that's 10 months, is utilized only for training, while the remaining 3 months of more recent data from November to January 15 are kept aside for testing only. And based on how well the robots do during the testing period, we selectively handpick the best settings, which we will eventually upload to our servers. And it's those optimized presets that our FapTurbo2 robots will download automatically and apply to their trading logic. Now, the point to remember here is that while the robots are optimized on training data, they are not allowed to be optimized on testing data. Otherwise, the optimization algorithm will merely overfit all of the data presented to it. And if that happens, then the robots will simply show great results on backtests for the year 2014, but it'll be terrible at handling newer market situations. This is why it's imperative that we keep the training data separate from the testing set. We put a lot of effort into our optimization process, and the procedures that we've coded is something very unique. We take great pains to ensure that our robots are not being overfitted to historical market data, so no one can ever accuse us of that. But that's not all. Besides splitting the historical data into training and testing, we also take it one step further by forcing the robots to focus on a particular range of months. And this is what I was referring to earlier with respect to focus periods. In this case, our focus period has been the months from November to February over the past 5 years. Now, imagine it this way: if you were a manual trader, imagine you're using a sliding window in conjunction with your favorite technical indicators, and when you do so, you start to notice certain repeated patterns that emerge over the years, and that's what we basically do in a nutshell. So what this allows us to do is to force the robot to examine common cyclical patterns that may emerge over this particular month range over the past 5 years. A simple example of how you can have annual trends or patterns is how the Forex market tends to react in similar patterns to annual holidays, like say for example Easter or Christmas or New Year's, and certain bank holidays, and a few high impact events that occur every year during these focus periods. So in a way, this allows the robot to prepare itself for possible similarities in the near future, in upcoming market price action. And these are the kind of hidden cycles that may present themselves over the recent focus period, which we then extrapolate to as projected returns for the near future. Now, to some of our more advanced users, this may seem like a very obvious approach to follow, but let me assure you of this. This is no trivial selection process. As of now, we are in the process of completing optimizations from November up to April with focus on January to April. So this is the main focus period that we'll be now taking into consideration for our upcoming FapTurbo 2.3 version, which also includes the new and improved flash algorithm, which I was referring to earlier. Now, let's take a quick look at the robot's statistics on this page. Now, there's a lot of data packed into this one table alone, but what you're seeing here is just the tip of the iceberg, because this is merely a summary that's been extracted from our highly detailed optimization process. Let me just get started by explaining these columns one by one. In the very first column, we have the list of all the pairs that you can trade on with our BTC and FapTurbo2 robots. So you have Bitcoin on the MTS mode, Bitcoin with the scalper mode, Euro USD with the MTS and scalper mode, and the rest of the major pairs and crosses. And as of now, these pairs have been arranged in descending order of profitability. The next column shows you the latest preset number, which comes from our optimization process, and it is these preset numbers that you will see on your charts when you're running the robot on your MetaTrader. So that's one way by which you'll get to know that you're running the latest presets. Now, the most important of these columns is the net profit and loss column, as you can see here, and the profits in this column show you the basic net profit and loss over the past 5 years, starting from January 2010. In the case of Bitcoin, it starts from January 2013, which makes its profits even more impressive if you consider the size of them. So from the BTC MTS mode, that alone generated $164,000 from January 2013, and the scalper mode 112,000. So these two are basically the two modes that we would actually recommend for a lot of people to get started with. But in order for you to trade profitably with Bitcoin, you need to have at least 500 to 1,000. Honestly, anything less than 1,000 is not going to cut it, because you will need to have enough of free equity while you're trading on Bitcoin. So after Bitcoin, the next set of profit figures you see are from the rest of the regular pairs. Besides EURUSD, here you have it on MTS as well as the scalper mode, and like I was saying, it's a good idea to have to run the robot on both these modes on Euro USD. And now with the new upcoming version 2.3, you also have the option to run the Flash mode along with these two as well. And I'll explain more about Flash a little while later. One more thing I must mention is that these profit figures that you're seeing here in this table are based on trading one full lot. That's 1.0 lots that you would enter into the robot's parameters or equivalent. So please keep that in mind. The next column shows you the total trades generated by the robot starting from 2010, or in the case of BTC from 2013, and the net win percentage, which means how many winners out of the total number of trades. The next column, actually the next few columns are what I would like to explain a little further. Now, like I was talking about earlier with respect to trading versus testing, what you're seeing here under the trading profit column are the profit figures generated by the robot during the entire training process, but excluding the testing section. So this is what you would say, what you would call the highly optimized trading profit. But see, once the robot is trained up to a particular period, what we do is after that, we don't guide it any further. We just, it's like having to help a toddler walk on its own. We basically let go from the testing period onwards. So from that point on, the robot is trading entirely on its own, and that's what you can see in the in the next few columns, especially in the next column, the test and focus profit figures, which are listed under this column. These figures that you see are profits which were generated by the robot entirely on its own without any further guidance from us. So there was no tweaking, there wasn't any form of further optimization or modification of the parameters. Whatever the robot was trained to do, it went ahead and generated these profits entirely on its own afterwards. And considering the fact that it was doing so entirely by itself, when you consider the trade win percentages during this particular test focus period, it's impressive, because we have quite a few of these that have hit 100% during the test period, which means that there were no losers on those particular pairs. Honestly, anything above 70 to 75% is a really good trade win percentage, especially when you consider the fact that you will have large take profits. You should always consider the trade win percentage in conjunction with the profit to loss ratios as well. Now the next column shows you the net profit and loss from all the focus periods over the past 5 years, and like I was mentioning, the earlier optimization round was focused mainly on November to February, and our next optimization round for version 2.3 will be focusing on January to April. So yeah, so like I said, this is just one subset of the kind of statistics that our unique custom optimization process yields or provides, and we can't possibly include all the statistics that it spits out. So just for you to be able to figure out how profitable our robots are, we've placed these figures before you. But more than numbers, I think what everyone really loves is your visual representation or graphs of how the equity improves over time. And that's what we have here. So here's what our equity graphs look like for Bitcoin in both the modes. And like I mentioned earlier for Bitcoin, this is the robot's performance starting from 2013, not 2010. Because prior to 2013, Bitcoin's price was just a little above $10 per BTC. And from the graphs, you can see that our robots have traded profitably despite the bubble bursts that occurred at the end of 2013 when BTC's price touched or actually crossed $1,200 and collapsed almost immediately following the panic selling that came shortly after. And let's not also forget the Mt. Gox crash, which occurred in February 2014 as well. So despite these intermediate crashes, you can see that there wasn't too much of a dip in the robot's performance. In fact, it's almost like a straight line heading up. The BTC robots still managed to generate profits despite the panic selling. And that's the great advantage of letting our BTC robot trade for you instead of you simply buying and holding Bitcoins. You see, if you were to buy and hold Bitcoins, then the value of your Bitcoin portfolio will experience drawdowns based on fluctuations in the actual value of Bitcoin itself. So what we're saying here is that trading with our BTC FapTurbo2 robots on Bitcoin offers you safety and a much better advantage than the usual buy and hold strategy that's usually employed by most of the amateur investors in the cryptocurrency world. Now, Bitcoin will always remain a highly volatile currency, and there are many naysayers who claim that the future of Bitcoin is shaky, but we don't really believe that's the case. It's a great cryptocurrency, and it's got a solid operational basis. So there will always be people trading in Bitcoin, but because of the fact that it is a limited market, there will be a lot of fluctuations. But that's also exactly what allows us to profit from it so well. So as they say, the final proof is in the pudding. So we'd encourage you to try our BTC FAP 2.2 version for yourself and see how well it trades for you on Bitcoin. Now, besides our top pair, that's Bitcoin, we're also showing you the equity graphs from Euro USD and GBP USD. And remember, these are profits that were generated at one full lot. That's 1.0. Okay, on Euro USD as well as GBP USD. So that's on Euro USD it was $42,000, and GBP it's 22,000. And all of these, like I said, all of these equity profit figures were provided in the table that we showed you earlier. Now, besides the MTS mode on Euro USD, you also have the option of having to run the legacy scalper on Euro USD M1. And it is the legacy. What I must say is that the legacy scalper is actually, you can think of it as being, like a carryover from our original FapTurbo scalper version. All right, and it's something that's, it's also almost like having to say that we love the basis on which FapTurbo was originally designed, and we've always wanted to keep it within the FapTurbo2 setup as well, which is why we've made sure that the legacy scalper is included in FapTurbo 2.2 and above. And besides this, we're also excited about the new and improved short-term flash algorithm, which is included in the FapTurbo version 2.3 Premium. Just to give you a sneak peek of what our flash results look like, this is what the equity graphs are like. The equity looks great. It's smooth, straight curves heading north. And it's not always about having to generate straight lines, because sometimes that can imply that the robot may not do well later on in the future. What's more important is how well the robot recovers from a loss. So as you can see here in the Euro GBP chart, there was a little bit of a dip, but then right from that point on, the robot recovered really well and then took off straight up. So that's what's really important. It's not just simply about having to make it look like it's generating really great profits. Recovery is just as important as having to generate profits as well. And what we've done in FapTurbo version 2.3 is we've given you the option to run Flash combined with the FapTurbo2 MTS mode on the same chart. Now, normally you'd have to open a separate chart for every different strategy you intend to run. But with version 2.3, you only have to open the usual 7 charts of the regular pairs, but that's excluding Bitcoin because Flash doesn't run on BTC. So all you have to do is open these 7 charts and then drop FapTurbo version 2.3 onto it. And the default mode will allow you to run both the MTS strategy as well as the Flash strategy simultaneously on the same chart, as you can see here. So at the top part here is the usual MTS strategy. As most of you who are already familiar with our FapTurbo robots, you know this particular section. But as you can see, just below MTS, you have a new section here which is dedicated to Flash 2.3, and that's what shows you details about how Flash is running in conjunction simultaneously with MTS. So what this does is, the combination basically serves to deliver like a solid trading punch from both the strategies together, so to speak. And at the same time, it also saves on your CPU processing power as well as memory, since you don't have to open additional charts. Plus, it helps you to save a little bit of space within your MetaTrader terminal. So now that we've taken a look at the robot's performance statistics and graphs, let's talk about its benefits. What is it that makes our robots so profitable and safe? Now, first of all, one of the first things that we really wanted to make sure that we could make available to our members was the ability for our robots to automatically download the latest optimized settings from our servers, so that you as a member would not have to worry about having to tweak the settings. You don't really have to lift a finger once the robot has initialized itself with the latest presets from our server. So, and besides that, we also have an additional fail-safe. So, if for any reason, if the robot's unable to download the latest optimized presets from our server, it basically makes a backup of the most recent settings that it used earlier, and if it's not available, if the latest settings are not available, it'll take it from the backup and then it'll initialize itself and then continue to trade like as if nothing had happened. So we've tried to cover all bases when it comes down to safety, as well as making it convenient for you to trade with our BTC and FAP 2.2 and above versions. Besides that, now you no longer have issues with having to worry about the Asian session spreads eating into your profits. The FapTurbo2 can operate in MTS mode, which is, like I said, it's a medium-term mode which has larger take profits. And besides the MTS, you also have the option of having to run the legacy scalpel side by side. And now with version 2.3, you also have the Flash mode. And all of this in conjunction along with the original long-term FAP strategy. So you have 4 different strategies available to you in one single robot. And that's not something that you'll find very commonly out there in the automated Forex world. Besides all of that, our FapTurbo2 series includes the advanced trading formulae and filters including trailing stops or break-even feature, the entry and exit filters. Those of you who have traded with our FapTurbo2 robots, most of you are probably familiar with the various filters that we have embedded in the robot, and all of that adds to the safety features in our robots. Along with the filters is also an automatic max spread filter, which means that in the unlikely event that the spread on a pair starts to increase beyond a particular threshold, the robot will basically temporarily switch itself off. It will suspend trading until the spread falls below that the acceptable threshold, and then only then will it continue. It'll resume trading back to normal again. So besides these filters, there are many more features that we've included in our BTC and FapTurbo series, and there are many more developments coming up this year itself. We have lots in store for you as our premium members. But as of now, our main focus will be the upcoming beta test of our new FapTurbo 2.3 Premium version, and I'll talk more about how you can join us as a beta test later on. So like I was saying, 2015 holds a lot of promise for all of us. So we're really glad that you're part of the FapTurbo family and you're along with us for the ride. Now, besides our main BTC and FapTurbo2 Premium robots, we are also very closely affiliated with the GPS Forex team. And GPS Forex is also another robot which is very different from our BTC and FapTurbo2 robots. But if you were to add GPS Forex to your portfolio, it'll be good in order to maximize profits in 2015. You can always run GPS Forex in addition to FapTurbo2 for a small extra fee, and you can find out more about GPS Forex inside of our members area. Just so you know, the GPS Forex comes pre-installed in MyFxChoice only. It's not available in Tallinex, and you can always see its live results here through this link, which is available on MyFxBook.com on a verified live account, and I'll show you a screenshot of that in a bit. But if you have any queries about the GPS Forex robot, please feel free to contact their support team, which is support@gpsforexrobot.com. And yeah, so this is a screenshot of what the GPS Forex equity graph looks like, the performance over the past say about 2.5 years. And it's when you consider the gain, it's about 273.26%. There's a lot more in terms of its statistics, all of which are not shown here. So the best thing to do, like I said, it would be to contact their support team, and they'll give you more information about how the robot trades and what the performance statistics have been like. Now, what I'd like to do now is quickly talk about why we emphasize on MyFxChoice and Tallinex being our preferred brokers. You see, we have been with other brokers before. It's not like we haven't, but out of all the brokers that we've traded and interacted with, in comparison, MyFxChoice and Tallinex give us really great spreads. And what we also love about these brokers is that they treat our premium members with higher priority. They have excellent customer service. And as our premium members, they also offer you deposit bonuses. More than anything else, both these brokers have really great trading environments with really slick, fast executions. And all of this is what amounts to a conducive platform for profitable trading with our BTC and FapTurbo robots. Like I said earlier, no matter how good a robot is, no matter how good your strategy may be, everything can fall flat on its face if you are trading on a bad broker. This is why it's so important to have accounts at trustworthy brokers, and these two are the only ones we recommend for BTC and FapTurbo. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over the session to Paul from MyFxChoice, and since he's representing and speaking on their behalf today, he'll tell you more about them in just a minute. Over to you, Paul.
Thanks, Alex. I hope you can hear me okay.
Oh yeah, perfectly, no problem.
Great, great. Okay. Well, again, thanks for allowing me to speak to the FapTurbo customers there. That was an awesome presentation. I learned a lot. A lot has changed since I was originally involved with FapTurbo back in 2010 or so. You guys have put a lot of effort, especially in the back testing part. I'm really impressed with the optimization, because that's really important. One of the big issues with robots is that they tend to, whenever they tend to get stuck when the market changes, and so it'll do well for a while and then all of a sudden it goes crappy. And so the nice thing about FapTurbo is you guys are constantly updating and tweaking it so that the customers are always getting the best settings possible. So that's great. I'm going to talk a little bit more about FxChoice and why I feel that we are the best choice, especially for your FapTurbo trading. FxChoice really was born out of the idea, a little bit different than most brokers, in that adversarial customer relationship that most brokers will have. Now, as you know, a lot of brokers, most of your retail brokers, are going to be what's known as a market maker broker. And basically what that means is just that when the customer makes money, the broker tends to lose money. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. And just to I kind of go off on a tangent here, just to give you an idea or a little bit of background on the different types of brokers, because there's a lot of misinformation out there about brokers and what's better and what's worse and that sort of thing. And it really just boils down to the legitimacy and the honesty of the broker, and not necessarily the type of broker that it is. But typically what you'll find when you go out looking for a retail Forex broker, you're going to find a market maker, which is going to be either it's going to have a trading desk or it's going to be a non-dealing desk broker. Those are the market makers, and those are the brokers that traditionally will take the other side of your trade. And there's a lot of hoopla about not using brokers to take the other side of your trade because they mess with your trades and there's a conflict of interest and all that kind of thing. And technically it could be. It's possible that it could be. But generally what happens is that when you have brokers that are messing with the feeds and messing with the trades and stop hunting and doing all those things, especially in this day and age, customers find out very, very quickly. And those brokers don't last very long. And so the good thing about a market-making broker is that it allowed the small individual trader to get involved in the Forex market. Before market makers, the small trader, the retail trader, that market didn't exist because you had to come in with a couple $100,000 and you can only trade one lot at a time, and so the small trader couldn't trade. But what the retail market maker broker decided to do was come into the market and allow the smaller trader to trade, and says, I will accept the risk, so I'll take the other side of that trade. Now, I will say that a non-dealing desk market maker is probably better than a dealing desk market maker, because non-dealing desk is strictly software driven. There's no one looking at your trades and looking at your stops and all that stuff. It's strictly when you put in a trade, they put in a trade. When you take off your trade, they take off their trade. And it's just that simple, and they don't care what happens traditionally. The other type of broker is what would be an STP or ECN. Now, I'll say STP because typically that's what you'll find in the retail market is your STP broker, which means straight through processing. The ECN brokers, that's typically in your institutional brokers, and it's a little bit higher end. And even though people will call it an ECN broker, they're really talking about an STP broker, and that's generally what you're going to find. Now, an STP broker is one that when you put in your trade, that trade can go out to the market, or the broker can decide to keep it. So it's either or, but typically they'll send it out to the market, and it'll get placed in the market. There are benefits and advantages and disadvantages to both types of trading, and it really does depend on what kind of trader you are and and your sophistication. And also too, if you're trading with a robot, type of robot that you're trading with. Now the nice thing about FxChoice is that we decided to take on a partnership relationship with our customers. All of the FxChoice customers, all your FapTurbo customers that come through to FxChoice, and you can change the charts now or the slides now if you want to. I'm not sure if I'm just slowing up or you just haven't changed it yet or not. There we go. One more up. One more. There we go. Yeah, we're partner with our customers, and all of the FapTurbo customers have a specific feed that is an ECN feed, or not ECN, but a STP/ECN feed. That is the FapTurbo feed that we use when you come in as our customer. Now, by doing that, we guarantee that we're going to give you the best execution. You're going to get the best prices with the lowest spreads that we can give you. And then also too, we're going to make sure that you get the best service possible. You can go to the next slide. Now, our FapTurbo or our FxChoice FapTurbo feeds are really tailored to the FapTurbo client. We have a specific feed optimized for FapTurbo clients, and it's dedicated for you. And when you come in and you pick your account type, FapTurbo 2.0 is one of the account types that you can choose, and we recommend you do that. And when you pick that, you'll get the best feed. It's an STP. It's an STP account. You get the ultra low spreads. You get exceptional trade execution. When you click the button, or when the software sends out the trade signal, that trade goes out to the market. When it closes right away. You don't get a lot of slippage or anything like that. And then probably one of the biggest benefits is the software is really built right into the platform. Now, the software itself isn't super difficult to install, but when it's built into the platform, that's just one less thing that you have to do. All you do is when you open up your account, download the platform, you drag the BTC or the FapTurbo 2.0 Premium onto your desired chart, a window pops up, you put in your email and your license number, and boom, you're ready to trade. And you just do that on each chart, and you only have to do it once. Once you do that, you're set, you're good to go, and the software takes over, and it starts trading for you. Next slide. Now, a lot of people may ask, or you may ask yourself, well, why would you choose FxChoice over any other broker that's out there? And I kind of alluded to some of the things just in the previous slide. But one of the bigger things is, like it says, that dedicated account that's designed specifically for FapTurbo users. And I really stress that because that feed has been optimized to make sure that FapTurbo works well. And that's why FapTurbo chose us as one of their dedicated brokers, because they knew that we were going to make sure that you got a feed that was going to make sure that worked. One of the nice things also about FxChoice is that we are one of the few non-U.S. brokers that take U.S. clients. We're incorporated in Belize, and because of that, we don't have a lot of the cooperating agreements that the UK and Australia and some of those other countries have that forces them to not take U.S. clients. And because you're able to trade in a non-U.S. environment, you now get 200-to-1 leverage. You don't have to worry about FIFO rules. You can hedge your accounts and those sorts of things. And so it's a much better trading environment for you, especially at 200-to-1 leverage. Not that you would use it all, but it helps because especially when you're trading with Flash and some of these others, you're trading multiple things at one time. FapTurbo is going to be opening multiple accounts, or I'm sorry, multiple trades. And so you want to trade with the highest leverage you can so that you use the least amount of margin for each trade that opens up. That way you can sort of squeeze every penny of profit out of your account. You don't have to hold a lot of money in there just for margin's sake. We're honest, and we have an honest and fair trading environment. And I could tell you that all day, and you may or may not believe me, but if you go over to the FPA site, Forex Peace Army, we have a dedicated web page there, and you can see just the reams and reams of people who have sung our praises and said that, you know, the customer service that we have and how well we treat all of our customers. And quite frankly, we're not trying to be the largest broker, because it's not necessarily to our benefit to be that way. We like the medium-sized broker because we're able to service our clients, especially the smaller, lower-end client coming in at, you know, 20, 30,000 or less, because we know that that's a side of the industry that's not getting serviced very well, and it also tends to be the side of the industry that, you know, it uses robots and the EAs and those types of things, and so we have dedicated ourselves to servicing that particular client, and we think that we do a good job at it. Next slide. I spoke about this earlier, and I'll speak about it again, is regarding the VPS and just how important it is to have a VPS, especially if you don't have a good internet connection, where you're worried about you're losing connection and things of that nature, or if you don't have a dedicated PC where you can say, I can leave this PC on all the time, 24/5 basically, because that's how FapTurbo trades, Monday through Friday. Leave it on, and I don't have to worry about Windows coming in and doing an update, or the kid spilling something on it, or you working on it and it freaks out on you. The VPS is nice to have so that you don't have to worry about that. And our VPS, as I alluded to earlier, is a full-fledged virtual private server. It's not just a trade platform, which a lot of people will have, where you just log on, you click a link, it logs you into your MetaTrader 4 platform, and that's all you have. We give you a full-fledged virtual private server, which is almost like another computer. You can put software on it. You can trade up to 5 platforms at one time. So you can have 5 FxChoice, or any broker for that matter, platforms up and running at any given time. So you can run 5 different strategies all at the same time, or you could be trading with live and demo all at the same time on 5 different accounts, all from our standard VPS. And that standard VPS with $1,000 deposit into a FapTurbo account gets you 60 days free of charge. After that, it's roughly 40 euros per month. Unless you keep a $3,000 balance and you trade about 5 lots a month, which is very easy to trade with a $3,000 balance, then that VPS is free forever. As long as you have 3,000 and you trade the 5 lots a month, you'll never have to pay for the VPS. The nice thing about this first 60-day trial here is basically you get an idea to test us out. You get an idea to try the VPS to see how it works. You get an idea to see how the MT4 platform works. Again, all of the software, FapTurbo, Bitcoin, GPS, all of that stuff is already loaded on there for you. So you don't have to do anything but drag it to the chart, put in your license, and you're good to go. If you decide that you want to add some other robots to your VPS, you can do that as well, and we will help you do that. And that brings me to another thing about with the VPS. I know Alex spoke about their premium service and how they will help you set up your VPS and things like that. Well, we do the same thing over at FapTurbo. When you come, you can come on to into our online chat support and just say, help, I need help setting up my software. I don't know how to do it. We either will walk you through it right there, or we can connect to your PC through what we have LogMeIn, which is similar to TradeViewer. We can connect directly to your PC and do the whole setup for you right there. It takes, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes maybe, sometime, most of the time less, depending on your situation, because sometimes it can take a little bit longer if you're at work, behind firewalls and things of that nature, so it could take a little bit longer. But the bottom line is that we're here to support you as a FapTurbo customer, and we're here to make sure that you get up and running with the least amount of effort possible. We're here to make sure that if you have any questions and concerns, we're always here to make sure that those questions are answered quickly, honestly, and if we don't know, we'll find out and get back to you. But that's our strong suit. Finally, when you come in as a FapTurbo customer, you get that 25% deposit bonus. And I spoke about the deposit bonus earlier as well, whereas that our deposit bonus doesn't work like a lot of the other brokers and a lot of the binary option brokers especially, because, and I'm sure you may have already experienced this, where you put in $500 and they give you a $100 bonus or $200 bonus, and then now you got to trade $30,000 worth of volume in order to get any of your money back. So I mean, that in profits, deposits, or anything. And so they basically just lock up your money and force you to trade, hoping that you're going to lose your money before they can give you your bonus. Well, we decided that we were going to operate a lot more fair than that. And so with FxChoice, you have access to your profits at any time. It doesn't matter. You put in, let's say you put in $1,000, you get a $250 bonus. And let's say you made $200 this month. You have access to that $200. You can withdraw it, do whatever you want. You don't lose your bonus. You always have it. If you get an emergency, something comes up, and you say, I put in this $1,000, I'm going to need $500, or I'm going to need the whole thing back, or part of it, or whatever the case may be, you have access to that money all the time, even your deposit. Now, if you take your deposit or any part of your deposit back, you do lose the bonus. You won't get the $250, but we do not lock up your money, and I want to make that real clear. We do not lock up your money. You always have 100% access to all of your deposits and all of your profits at any time. It doesn't matter. Withdrawals are quick and easy, and we have multiple ways of doing that. So that's one of the big things that we wanted to make sure that a lot of people understood, because I see coming into chat and into our support where people just assume that they just come in and they say, you gave me $200 bonus, I don't want it. They'll just say, I don't want it. And it's because they think that it's going to lock up their account. So you don't have to be concerned about that. Next slide. Okay, now this is my last slide here, and basically I have on here, recipe for trading success, and I stated it that way is because when you combine FxChoice with our customer service, award-winning customer service, with the spreads and the execution and the VPS and the bonus, plus the awesome software of FapTurbo and all of the things that they put into it and how they keep adding to it. Now you got 4 or 5 trading systems in one, all for that same price. I don't think the price has gone up at all. You really have a recipe to really make money on the Forex market. And for people who don't necessarily want to learn how to trade or put the time into to learn how to trade, FapTurbo along with FxChoice is a good option to have. So I leave you with saying that if you really want to get the absolute most out of your purchase of your FapTurbo software, FxChoice really is the obvious choice for you. We work hard and we make sure that you get handled. Thank you for allowing me the time to speak with you, and it's back to you, Alex.
All right. Thank you very much, Paul. It's always nice to hear from the broker side. And considering the close relationship that we at FapTurbo have with FxChoice, it's always nice to have representation from the broker side as well. All right, so we're slowly coming to the end of our webinar, but before we close, what I want to do is I want to quickly talk about the future developments that we have coming up and how you can join us as one of our FapTurbo2 beta testers. Now, we've just about finished with the final optimization rounds for FapTurbo version 2.3 Premium, and that includes, like I said, the MTS mode along with the legacy scalper and FapTurbo Flash. And our focus right now is about having to test FapTurbo Flash in conjunction, rather simultaneously with the MTS mode on the various pairs. So what we're going to be doing during February this month is we're going to be beta testing FapTurbo version 2.3 Premium which comes combined with FapTurbo Flash. And we have, we already have a few of our existing members who are part of our beta tester group. But we would like to expand that. So if you're interested in becoming a beta tester, there are a few conditions that you'll have to meet. And the only reason why we insist on these is because we want to be able to help beta testers while they're going through the beta testing phase. But it does help if you are also self-sufficient and you're able to handle certain things or certain simple issues on your own. So let me just quickly go through the various conditions. First of all, like I said, you have to be self-sufficient and comfortable with running our BTC and FAP2 Premium robots on either FxChoice or Tallinex, or if you have an account at either, or rather both the brokers, you can do that as well. You can run the new beta version on both the brokers simultaneously. But the emphasis here is that if there are any simple technical issues with the robot, then that's something that you should be able to handle on your own. What I do want to say is, in most cases, when it comes down to the simplest of issues with our FAP2 series, simply restarting the MetaTrader solves a majority of the issues, and that's something that a lot of our members, are either not aware of or they forget. So, that's one of the simplest things that you can do in order to just simply reset the robot's configuration. And that actually solves a lot of the issues that you may come across. But if there are any serious technical issues, those are the things that we need to know about so that we can iron out those issues before we go ahead and do the final release of FapTurbo version 2.3 Premium. As a beta tester, you should also be willing to run the new FapTurbo version 2.3 Premium on a live funded account in order to report real live results. This is really important because we're not interested in just simply having to view what the trading results are on a demo account. It doesn't really do us much good because demo accounts are usually idealized trading environments, and they don't really, even though they do, to a certain extent, they may reflect what the broker's trading environment may be, but in a lot of cases it's so idealized that it's not going to be much use in having to gauge how well the robot is doing in an actual live environment. So you have to be willing to run FapTurbo version 2.3 beta on your live accounts. If you have a VPS, that's great. It'll make things a lot easier when it comes down to troubleshooting, like I mentioned earlier, but it's not mandatory. So if you don't have a VPS, then it's all the more important that you are technically self-sufficient to be able to run our robots on your own PC. And besides that, you have to be responsible for sending in statements or reporting trading results. Obviously when it comes down to reporting these trading results or doing calculations, having a little bit of familiarity with spreadsheets like Microsoft Office or OpenOffice would be an added advantage. So that's something that you should take into consideration. and you will have to send in your statements or trading results on a weekly basis. Usually, our beta testers usually send in their results over the weekends, so that gives us time to have to go through the results. And besides that, if there are any issues, we can also quickly, make corrections and basically release an updated beta version quickly over the weekend. So that way, everyone benefits. And yes, of course, we definitely need feedback on the new beta version while you're running it. Now, if you think you meet any of, not any, if you think you meet all the above qualifying conditions, then please email us at betatest@FapTurbo2.com with your name, your system configuration, and your current trading setup, meaning to say, which broker you're on and your live account or account numbers if you're trading on both FxChoice as well as Tallinex, and most importantly, your starting balance at the time when you are going to be jumping in with the FapTurbo 2.3 beta. It's important to note down the starting balance because obviously for us to know how well the robot is doing, we will have to compare it with the starting balance at the time when you start off with the actual beta testing phase. So please make sure you note down the starting balance once the beta testing phase begins. We are going to be finalizing the beta version of FapTurbo version 2.3 Premium hopefully by this coming week, the weekend. If not by the weekend, definitely next week. And we will definitely reply and inform all the beta testers who show interest in having to be included in the beta testing phase. So only if you qualify as a beta tester will we reply to you. And once you're on the list, then we will constantly keep you updated of all the developments and any changes that we are making to the beta versions. So please make sure that you keep this email address in mind, betatest@FapTurbo2.com, if you're interested in having to be a beta tester with us. All right, so we're now at the end of our webinar, and in a couple of minutes we're going to be starting off the Q&A session. The question section is already activated on the side, so you can type in your queries. Please keep your questions brief and to the point. Emily will be monitoring your queries over here. We obviously won't be able to answer everyone's queries on this webinar, but what we will be doing is picking out the more pertinent ones and do our best to address them as well as we can. As a last reminder, please remember, this is the time for you to get in on the trading action with our BTC and FapTurbo robots. It's 2015. We're already past the first month of this new year, and there's lots of money to be made. So if you've been sitting on the sidelines and haven't begun trading yet, then we highly encourage you to dive in now because, at the end of the day, nothing risked, nothing gained. And so if you don't have a broker account yet, then we highly recommend you open an account at one of our preferred brokers, and the broker registration links are listed here. And this way you can get started with our FapTurbo robots as soon as possible. As always, if you have any queries regarding the operation of our robots, or if you face any technical issues with installing or executing the robots on your account, then please contact us directly at the premium support address, which is premium@FapTurbo2.com. Please make sure you limit your queries to anything related to your premium membership or tech support. That's what you will usually send to premium@FapTurbo2.com. But if you have any general or billing related queries, then please send that to our general support, which is simply support@FapTurbo2.com. Please make sure you keep these two, you note down these two email addresses as well. So we're going to be starting the Q&A session right now, and I'd like to thank you all in advance for having been here and for having attended our webinar. Before I close, I'd also like to extend my thanks to Paul for being here with us and representing our favorite broker, that's the FxChoice. All right, so we're going to start off with the Q&As, and let me just quickly start going through the various questions that we have here. Just give me a moment, please. All right. We've already got quite a few questions coming up. Okay. All right. There are quite a few questions related to the brokers as well, but I'll hand those over to Paul in a bit. Okay, Joe Koska asks, how do I know if I'm running the most current FxChoice platform? Joe, if you've once you've opened up an account through our registration links, you'll be taken straight to the MT4 download page on the broker's website, and as long as you're downloading from the FxChoice or Tallinex website directly, you will always be having the latest MT4 version. And our robots are already designed and compiled to run from MetaTrader version. I think it's 765 right now. So you don't have to worry about having the latest platform as long as you download directly from the broker's website. Okay. Right. I think someone over here. I can't see the person's name. I think it's Frank. Frank is basically asking for Paul's email address. Yes. Sorry, we didn't mention this earlier, but Paul, if it's p.tagger@myfxchoice.com, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Well, so let me just repeat that. For those of you who would like to get in touch with Paul regarding any MyFxChoice queries, that's p.tagger@myfxchoice.com. All right, we've got more questions coming in here. Just give me a minute, please. Sam is asking, I'd like to get your direct contact phone number. Sorry, Sam, we used to have, with the old FapTurbo website, we used to have telephonic support, but that quickly got out of hand. So it's best for you to have to simply send in your queries via email. And like I said, the best thing to do is just email us directly at premium@FapTurbo2.com. Most of your queries will be answered within 24 hours itself. Unless it's over the weekend, sometimes it might take a little longer, but it's usually done within 24 to 48 hours. Raul Padilla has an interesting question. Do you suggest to have the robot trade only one pair with a 3,000 account or more pairs? Raul, that's a really good question. Now, like I mentioned earlier, and like I was talking about, the various profit figures on the table that we showed you earlier, those profits were generated across all the pairs. You can't hope to generate those kind of profits on just one single pair alone. And trading on a single pair is not going to do you much good, because if one of the pairs were to experience a loss, then your entire account, especially if you're scaling the lot sizes based on the number of pairs and your account size, it's going to fluctuate a lot based on that one single pair alone. So no, we wouldn't recommend trading on only one pair. What I would recommend is that you trade on all the pairs together, or if you want to be selective, then you can choose the best pairs that we mentioned earlier. But $3,000, I must mention this, $3,000 is a really good amount to start with, because not only does it give you the free VPS, it allows you to continue with the VPS service as long as you're trading 5 round lots in a month. And with the new FapTurbo version 2.3, which includes the MTS mode plus the scalper and flash, all of these three together, there's going to be enough of trading activity which will ensure that you hit that particular target in a month. So in essence, it's like having to your VPS service at the end of the day will be free as long as you maintain that that trade round lot requirement. Brent is asking, if you take the bonus, does that mean you have to do a certain amount of trades before you can make a withdrawal? Yeah, Paul, if you want to take that.
Sure. No, Brent, you don't have to do a certain amount of trades before you can take the withdrawal, but you do have to do a certain amount of trades before you can take your bonus. So just to give an example, if you put in $1,000 and you get $250 in bonus, that bonus will show in your equity column. Now, over the next month or two, let's say you make $200. You have access to that $200. You can withdraw it at any time you want, and it won't affect your bonus at all. And you can continue to trade to trade up to the volume that you need to pull that to finally get your bonus over into your account balance. So again, you don't have to trade any volume in order to make a deposit, or I'm sorry, to pull out your profits. You just need to trade the volume to pull out your bonus.
Right. There's one more question from Armin R, which is also related to your FXChoice brokerage. He says, in the UK, the money I deposit with a broker is protected by the Financial Conduct Authority. With FXChoice based in Belize, how is my account money secure?
That's a good question, and basically we have segregated accounts, which means that our operating expense is different and separate from the trading accounts. So if something were to happen to FXChoice, whatever's in your account, that's what gets sent back to you, and you can guarantee that.
All right, great. We have a question from Jeffrey Matsky. He says, I thought FapTurbo2 makes the trades automatically. Yes, absolutely, Jeffrey. FapTurbo2 is totally automatic. There's nothing, you don't really have to do anything manual at all except having to set up the robot on your MetaTrader 4, and then once it initializes itself, it's hands-free. You don't have to do a thing after that. I don't think we mentioned anything in this webinar to make it sound like as if FapTurbo2 needed manual intervention. But unless there's a really, like say for example, if there's a sudden high impact event that may affect trading results, what we've done is this is another thing that I should have actually mentioned earlier. FapTurbo2 has this inbuilt safety mechanism wherein we can remotely switch off the robot in case of a high volatility event which may drastically affect trades. So that's something that we incorporated into FapTurbo a long time ago, and it's always been there and in our earlier and even more recent FapTurbo2 versions. So that's not something you have to worry about. JC is asking, I already have FapTurbo. What is the cost of FapTurbo2? JC, that's a good question. Since you're already an existing member, you can actually get FapTurbo2 from us at a discounted price. What I'd suggest is that you contact us at premium at FapTurbo2.com. And if there's anyone else out here who is already an existing FapTurbo1 member, just email us at premium and we'll get you started with the new FapTurbo2 version. All right. Okay. Roland Mester is saying, last time I did not get my money back from FX. Roland, that is highly unlikely. What I'd suggest is for you to contact Paul so that he can help you straighten it out. I'm sure it must have been some issue which could have been easily resolved, or it may not have been addressed properly, but please make sure you get in touch with Paul directly, and I'm sure he'll take care of it for you. All right. Carlos F, how do I get a license for FapTurbo2? Carlos, all you have to do is go to our main webpage, FapTurbo2.com. Go through the webpage because it has a lot of details, and finally, when you scroll down to the bottom of that page, you'll see the Get Me In button. So just click that and get started with registering with us. The MT4 platforms will be available from the broker websites directly, but the good thing is once you've downloaded the MT4 platforms, they come pre-installed with our latest robots. So you don't have to separately install the robot. It's already included inside of the platform. All you have to do is drag and drop onto the charts. Joe, will you make the recording available? Oh yes, definitely. This webinar is being recorded and it will be made available to all of our members later on. So don't worry about that. Thank you for the kind words, Boris. He's asking, do I choose highly experienced manual trader or a robot for getting my profits boosted up in a 1-year time period and getting good profits? This is a really good question with respect to, first of all, the time period that you have in mind. A lot of people join us thinking that, they're going to be able to generate huge profits within a single month itself. And then, let's say, for example, if there were to be a month where there might be a slight dip in profits, they immediately get discouraged and then they drop out. What I have to emphasize here is that you have to stick it through. Trading with our robots is meant to be a long-term approach. It's not something that you just simply jump in and jump out of. And if you're not the kind of person who can stick with it, then honestly, it's best that you don't trade with any robot at all, because no robot is going to give you the kind of returns that you may imagine inside of your mind. This basically also boils down to another thing. Having the correct trader mindset along with trading with our robots, and also having to adjust your expectations, accordingly. You shouldn't have to go ahead and inflate your expectations and expect that our robot will make you $1 million in a month. That's not going to be possible unless you were to trade with really high lot sizes. And at that size, honestly, unless you have a huge equity to begin with, you could possibly ruin your account in a single day. So that's not something that we'd recommend at all. We always tell our members to trade conservatively. In fact, our robots' lot settings are set in such a way that they're meant to trade conservatively. And if you want to go ahead and increase the lot sizes, you can always do that based on your account size. What we usually recommend is 0.01 lots for every $500 of your account, but you can increase that. There are a lot of people who trade well with even 0.1 lots at $1,000, which is a really good size to start off with. So that's something you should keep in mind. But between the two, I would highly recommend that you start with the BTC and FapTurbo2 series, especially with the new version 2.3, which will be released once our beta testing phase is done. JJ is asking which MT4 platform works best. JJ, like we've been mentioning, for our FapTurbo2 robots, the only two brokers you can work with are MyFxChoice and Tallinex. And my personal preference is FxChoice. I mean, I've played around with both the platforms, and I like FxChoice a lot. But there's a lot of people who are also very comfortable with Tallinex. So it works both ways. At the end of the day, it depends on which broker you have a preference for. Let me see where else. Dean Ivy, what is the difference between premium and non-premium, and what is the difference in cost? Dean, see, the earlier FapTurbo scalpers from our FapTurbo1 website, those were originally like what we would call the non-premium versions, and it didn't have a lot of the features which are included in our premium robots, which includes the automatic downloading of presets, a lot of the various safety features, trailing stops and break-even features, and additional filters. A lot of features that we've included in FapTurbo2 are not there in the older non-premium version. And with respect to the difference in price, that's something that you can contact us directly at either support@FapTurbo2.com or premium@FapTurbo2.com. Paresh is asking a really interesting question. Can I open accounts at both the brokers? Absolutely. In fact, we recommend it. If you'd like to go ahead and open up accounts at both the brokers, we'd highly encourage you to do so. What you could do is start off with, you can start off with as low as $100 at each broker. But like I said earlier, for you to really get squeeze out the best profits, especially from Bitcoin, it's best to start off with at least $500 at each broker. So that way, you can maximize your profits. $500 to $1,000 is what we always recommend. Samper, do we need to trade Bitcoin on a separate account to FX? No, not at all. In fact, both the brokers include Bitcoin in the list of pairs that are tradable within the brokerage. So you don't have to open up a separate platform or a separate account. You can trade Bitcoin within the very same account that you open up at either of the brokers, and within the same MetaTrader as well. So you don't have to install a separate MetaTrader just for that. Tommy Freeman, I've already addressed that question. We'd recommend actually anything between 0.02 to 0.05 lots, but you can even go up to 0.1 lots per $1,000 if you'd like to trade a little above the usual conservative level. Okay, just so you know, just to keep this put this out there. The usual price for FapTurbo2, the regular price is $149, but if you are an existing FapTurbo1 member, we will definitely give you a discount. So all you have to do is just contact us, and we'll help you get started with that. We'll give you a discount link so that you can get avail of the latest version. Daniel Guillory, okay, that's a good question. If the trading stops for the weekend, where is that? I mean, is that going to be on a Friday end, and what time is that on GMT? Okay, Daniel, with the brokers, what usually happens is the Friday, let's say Friday end of day trading before the brokers close up for the weekend is usually around 20:22. That's the 10 p.m. Their server time, which is at this point in time, I think it's GMT +1.
Hey, Alex, with FxChoice, we're GMT +2.
Oh, sorry, +2. That's right.
Yeah, we're GMT +2, and typically we stop trading at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's typically when the New York market closes.
Right.
On Friday.
Right.
That's when we close. That's when we close as well.
Okay. Right. Cool. Okay, so I think we've almost come down to the end of our question section here. Let me see if there's anything else that we can quickly address. There are a lot of people who are asking if they can trade on demos. Yes, you can definitely trade on demos, but if you plan on having to join us as a beta tester, then please make sure that you're doing it on a live account, because it really serves us. It doesn't serve us at all for you to have to report results from a demo account. Dean Ivy, are the premium settings different from regular settings? Dean, okay, by regular, if you mean the older settings from from the previous original FapTurbo scalper, then yes, the premium settings are completely different. I mean, they're absolutely fine-tuned and they're constantly updated by us. So the premium settings are they're very, very different from what the regular scalper used to run on. Minimum amounts, like I said, $500 to $1,000. Oh, a lot of people are asking for Paul's email. So just let me see if I can just type that in here. I'll type this out to the entire audience so everyone has this available to them.
Also, too, Alex, is that I can always be reached if they go through our online chat support, which is from, you can get there from our main website. It's about a third of the way down. Click on Connect to a Live Operator. I'm usually there most mornings between 10 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They can always contact me there. If I'm not there, they can always let the operator know that they want to get a hold of me. That operator can send me an email or a support ticket or whatever. So there's lots of ways of getting in touch with me.
All right. That's great. Sorry about that. Excuse me. Okay, let's take one last question before we end this. Yeah, Edward Ledbeater is asking, my Tallinex shows only the FapTurbo version 2.2. That's right, Edward, because right now the current version is BTC and FapTurbo 2.2 Premium. The new FapTurbo version 2.3 beta will only be provided to our beta testers during the beta testing phase. It's not going to be available inside of the MetaTraders just yet, because we want to make sure that we have the time to test the robot thoroughly, make any corrections or changes or whatever is required before we do the final release. And only once the final release is ready, then it'll be made available through the broker MetaTraders. So until then, you'll have to get in touch with us at beta test at FapTurbo2.com. And if you meet our qualifying conditions, then we'll be happy to help you get started with the version 2.3 beta. Okay, so I think that's about it. I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this up. So I'd like to thank you all again for having been here. It's really great to see so many of our existing FapTurbo2 members and newbies as well who've joined us on the webinar. We're really glad that you're here along with us for the trading journey in 2015. And thank you once again, Paul, for being here with us on the FapTurbo2 webinar.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We really hope all of you will join us on a more